Welcome. You're watching us here on Scaling Right with the Artha School of Management. I'm Mangalam Maloo, and this is a podcast where we talk to founders about building sustainable companies and the many roads to reach there. The road to building your own venture, as exhilarating as it may be, also comes with moments that are filled with doubts and uncertainties. As founders, you not only have to navigate these moments, but you also have to keep motivating your team through all of this. It can get lonely, and it can take a toll on one's mental well-being. Today, we're bringing you an unfiltered conversation on the practical tools, strategies, and insights that successful entrepreneurs can use to prioritize and nurture their mental health. Only so, the mental health and the financial health of their business and their team is taken care of. So, to discuss this with us today, we have with us Uma Arora and Hemali Thurakia in the room. Thank you for joining in. Let's talk a little about you before we go ahead. Our first guest, Uma, is a leadership coach. She's an OD practitioner and a behavioral scientist. She's also the founder of IDEM Learning. It's an India-based coaching firm and immediate past president of Asia Pacific Alliance of Coaches, a Singapore-based coaching society. She blends her knowledge and training as a coach with her business experience as well as insights from neuroscience, which is an Eastern philosophy, and wisdom to produce individualized outcomes for her clients. Impressive, that is. Allow me to introduce our second guest to you, Hemali, who's the founder and CEO at Insta Parenting, an ML-based mobile app for parents. Well, their mission is to empower parents with simple, certified, play-based content to foster foundation learning, life skills, and values in their children. The app not only strengthens the parent-child relationship, but also helps in reducing screen time for children. Thanks a lot, ladies. Welcome to our show, and it's a pleasure to have both of you all here. Before we start, the big question is, how do you go about starting your business?
How did I start it? Basically, it all started when my nephew was born. Not that I am a parent, but when he was born, automatically I became one of the primary caregiver. And I really didn't know what to do with him. A baby who is like 1 day old. What do you do? And that's what, coming from an IT field, where I have worked over 9+ years with MNCs like Wipro and HCL, it got me into a mode of doing a lot of research about early childhood development. And then I discovered that 85% of your brain development happens by the age of 6. And there are so many things that you can do. You have a mindset that, okay, 6 महीने का बच्चा है तो आप क्या करोगे उसके साथ. But there are a lot of things that you can do to foster that foundational learning. And we were very clear that we don't want to follow the traditional way of parenting, because what happens is, we are raising a digitally native kids, right?
Yep.
So it's a stark difference between parenting styles. And and we were, at one point of time, it was like, हम लोग कितने expensive toys ला रहे हैं, we are just burning a hole, and why can't we do something, with simple household materials? So that's how the entire business idea started. That's how, from my personal pain, we started Insta Parenting. So that's how the business was started.
And that's rather interesting, Hemali, that you speak about, your personal need, and then you fulfill that. To fulfill that, you think of an idea, and that idea you turns out to be a bit of a business idea as well. That's how most businesses start. What was interesting, Uma, was that she said that, when she had her nephew, she didn't really know what exactly to do with the child and the challenges that parenting as caregivers could pose. What's interesting is that businesses or startup founders are pretty similar to parents in that sense as well. 85% of the child's development happens in the first 6 years. I'm sure 85% of the business's ethos and thought process also form in the first 6 years itself. So through those nervous moments, how is it that you train the founders to develop the mentality that trickles down to the last employee and the ethos of the company?
Awesome. That's a great question, Mangalam, because I think my a lot of learning happened when I started parenting my nieces and nephews exactly the same way. And the whole intergenerational understanding happened through them. So that's that's not answering your question. But coming to your question, and it's a very interesting question, that parenting and starting a startup, actually, there are a lot of similarities, because, and in India, probably worldwide, we are not trained to be, now actually people have started doing these parenting workshops, this, that, and the other, but you're not trained to be an entrepreneur and you're not trained to be a parent. So so you haven't thought through the resources, you haven't thought through the challenges, and you just one fine day you are a parent, and then you're swimming and you're learning. And that's what happened in parenting. And when you start a startup, exactly the same thing happens. And of course, a little more thinking has happened, but you have to give it your all, because it's right there, it's in here and now, and there is no tomorrow. And it's very,
Well, that's interesting. Well, you're swimming and you're trying to learn, but building a company is a rather hard journey. What really happens is that all those who are successful are celebrated, but alongside that success, there are a bunch who fail as well. I'm sure there are a lot of decisions on a day-to-day basis that you have to make. Tell us a little about the challenges that you face while running a business.
Some challenges. Well, you know what? I can spend a day on talking about the challenges, but considering the time frame, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and give some analogies to shorten the entire experiences. So, as a founder, you're facing a curveball every single day.
Right.
And the thing is, if that curveball is from one particular sport, say for example a cricket, then even with practice, you would be able to hit a sixer even on a Yorker.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that curveball in a founder's life is from different sport every single day. Sometimes it's cricket, sometimes it's basketball, where you have to literally jump and make a goal. Sometimes it's football, you have to catch it. Sometimes it's like a tennis ball, where you don't have to hit outside the boundary, you have to be within the boundary. So, if you ask me if there are certain standard rules which are there, or, कि आप, funding उठा लो, आगे की journey, अच्छी रहेगी, कि, everything would be honky-donkey for you.
That's one of the biggest misconceptions ever for startups.
Yeah, totally. And, it's going to be different. Even if I tell you my challenges, you may not even experience it. But challenges are inevitable. It does not matter if you're Hemali Thurakia, a bootstrap startup, or you're a Sam Altman, right? मेरे customer acquisition के issue है, उसके board के issue है, but issues तो है. And, if what you asked, how we can make it easier, there is no way, you have to be very resilient. And the worst thing is, I'll tell you, right? When you're on the field, you can only imagine the kind of pressure you are in, right? And the people around who are the audiences are your friends and family.
Yes.
Who are constantly either cheering you or judging you. So, एक PR का article आया, एक podcast किया, तो हाँ, Hemali, you're the great, you're going to be in the next unicorn and all. And बाद में you'll also have people who'll be like, हाँ, app तो बना लिया, उसमें क्या big deal है, even I can do it. And I'm like, bro, don't sit on the audience, don't sit in your comfort zone, get on the field and test it by yourself, whether you can do it or not. So I would just want to tell all the, founders out over there is that, yes, entrepreneurship is hard. It is not going to be easy, but it's extremely fulfilling. Even if you fail, it does not matter, because you have taken that courage to get on the field. That shows how confident you are and how risk taker you are, because that's the most important skill that you need to have, is risk taking.
Well, Uma, she seems like she is built of the tough stuff, and she has a fair amount of resilience, confidence, and fearlessness in herself as well. But I'm sure a lot of founders who do face a lot of stress and anxiety on a daily basis while they're going on their journey, how is it that you can, help them navigate through this period of stress and anxiety?
Okay. So I'm going to answer this question in 3 parts.
Yeah.
Okay. The first one is picking up from her answer, and she said willpower and the confidence. So first is that you're made of a very strong metal. I was talking to someone just the other day and said, I met 50 investors and 49 have ghosted, or they haven't they've said no, and only one person has said maybe.
Right.
So exactly, what metal you are made of, that willpower. And you can have strategies for like distancing yourself, like meditation. In fact, the other day you were talking about meditation. Meditation is very, very helpful. Taking a walk, just because what happens is all this stress and anxiety, it just takes over, and
Right.
and you have, and it's all unbounded fear. It's unbounded, unfocused fear. So how do you distance yourself from that? That's on a day-to-day basis. You have to develop some practices that you can use. How do you distance yourself? Get distracted, family, meditation, walk, exercise, all of that. Another thing is using writing therapy.
Okay.
So that's my favorite. Journalism. That's non-meditative
Daily journaling is
method.
what you're talking
So
about.
journaling, because again, journaling focuses the problem. Because as I said, if you hear 49 no's, what's going to happen? It's an unbounded fear.
Yes.
A lot of anxiety. So strategies for, and we'll keep talking about the strategies for handling stress and anxiety. The second thing I want to talk about is the neuroscience of it. Why this happens? Because I think this should be a part of every child's, learning. What happens in our brain? Why we feel this way? Why we get into this loop of stress and anxiety? And so our brain has three parts. Stem brain and limbic system and this prefrontal cortex. Yeah. So stem brain is basically manages reflex action and breathing and heartbeat and all the automatic actions but that are happening in the body. And limbic system is the sensitive, reactive system, and it's called the emotional brain. And it has evolved over the last 40 million years, but still it was made to manage danger and fear. So that limbic system is something that gets affected, and it receives all the signals and it reacts. Okay. And then prefrontal cortex, which is the logical, rational part of the brain. So what happens when we undergo stress and anxiety is that limbic system takes over. It's like a child managing the budget of an office.
Okay.
What will happen? So it plays havoc with our body and it plays havoc with our brain. So what we have to, all the things that the meditation that you do, the journaling that you do, that creates a distance between
the limbic
and the neocortex. And journaling especially, what happens is that we are shifting the frequency from emotional brain to the rational brain.
Got it.
So we want the brain to start thinking, okay, so what are the options? So how do you do journaling? So why am I scared? What is going to happen? What worst can happen? So you are pouring down all your fears, all your problems, right? So then you can see that, okay, what is the cause and how I can manage it? So it brings some focus.
So basically defining the problem is actually attacking the problem 50% of that already. So once you know what you're fighting, then you can work towards, fixing those fears or fixing the problems that people are having. Talking about problems, Hemali, the first thing that I want to ask is that, do you have any co-founders?
I do.
Okay, so
Thankfully.
Thankfully. The reason why you say thankfully is because co-founders obviously take some of the stress away, take some of the responsibilities as well. Is it tough for a single founder?
There is no iota of doubt out of here that it's very difficult for a single founder. But you need to also keep in mind that the number one reason why startup fail, especially during early stage, is because of co-founder conflicts.
Okay.
So while, it's like, while you're choosing your co-founder, it's like your marriage, right? It can either make you or break you. And it does not matter, if you are into arranged marriage or love marriage. That means it does not matter if you know the person over a longest period of time, or, you've met them during the
Right.
journey. Conflicts are going to come. So while I would say it is absolutely okay to go ahead and wait it out till you find the right one, but don't be in that delulu that, okay, that, you'll be able to do it by yourself. Do not do that. And what your second question is, like, what can you do alternatively, right?
Yes.
Alternatively, thankfully, we are living in a digital world, right? So having a mentor is on your fingertip. Another thing is, go ahead and do as much networking as you can, because your network is your net worth. Join an incubation or an acceleration program like, Artha School of Entrepreneurship. So I've built some great business connection through Hari. With Saruchi, I've been able to go ahead and have some most vulnerable discussion, and even spoken about spirituality with her. So it's such a perfect blend, right? And one of the most important and underrated solution, if I have to say, is like build relationships with other founders.
Right.
Because, you can be absolutely naked in front of them, because they are sailing in the same boat.
That's true.
So, they are not going to judge you for any mistakes that you do. And, never be also scared to open your connection or share with them what has worked with you, because at the end of the day, India is the third largest economy. We are the highest consumer market. We are already crossed $3 trillion US dollars, projected to cross
4 trillion
5.
now as we speak.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Okay, great. So it's going to be $5 trillion US dollars in probably next 3-4 years. So there is a market share for all, and just go ahead and find that good founder friends. That's what I.
All right. Find friends, be vulnerable in front of them, be honest in front of them. If you don't have any co-founders, and if you do have any co-founders, conflict resolution is the way to go. Uma, your thoughts on the same? I mean, it gets difficult for single founders. Who can they turn to in absence of co-founders? And if they do have co-founders, what are the conflict resolution mechanisms that you would suggest?
Yeah, I think communication is the key. So developing a system of having an open chat every other day, and in fact, the rule is the same rule which is in the family. Don't sleep with the conflicts still alive. So resolve your conflict every day. Don't let it grow. So I think that's the rule, and of course she said it that network and find advisors, find mentors who can help you. But co-founder really helps you in the long run. And I think the two things you can look for in a co-founder. One is complementarity, and the other is compatibility. So when I say complementarity, means what are your skills, and you're hiring for different, or you are
Right.
partnering for different skills. And because if you both are similar, what will happen is you'll have same blind spots.
Right.
And
And like she said, it's no different from a marriage itself. You are looking for complementarity as well as compatibility. But, these days mental health has been spoken about a lot more freely and with a lot more openness and a lot less stigma as well. What are the things, according to you, given the entrepreneurship journey, which is hard and tough, how do entrepreneurs prioritize mental wellness?
Great question. When you talk to founders, I don't have time for this, I'm raising funds, or I haven't been able to raise funds, so I have to work harder. I'm hiring people now. I'm sacking people. So people don't prioritize this. This is a reality. So Mahabharat, right?
Yeah, of course, everyone knows Mahabharat.
Everyone knows Mahabharat. So when did Arjun need coaching? You know,
When he was in the middle of a conflict.
when he was in the middle of the war, in the middle of the battle, you know, when Kaurava army and the army of Pandavas, they had taken positions and they were in the battlefield.
Right.
That's the time when Krishna gave the best coaching gyan in the world, you know. So that's what it is. I think people have to prioritize it like yesterday. So you can't delay it. You can't delay living. You can't delay your mental health.
So don't delay your mental health is the mantra that is coming from our in-house Krishna right now for all those who are in the middle of a conflict or a battlefield looking at the challenges up ahead. You did speak about hiring. You all spoke about co-founders. Co-founders are like marriage. Hiring is not too different either. I mean, when you're a startup, the first few employees that you hire are important as they build the ecosystem, the ethos of a company. And you want your thought process to trickle down to the first 5 or 10 employees at least. What are your thoughts on hiring? How do you select the right people? On what basis?
So go by recommendations, I would strongly suggest, especially during early age. If you have worked with that person prior, that would be the first bet, because in the start, what matters is not your merits, not your qualification, not your experience, but how agile you are in terms of doing everything and anything. Like, I know, because we were building the IP of like 1,000 plus DIY activities and games, and there were constant shootings which used to happen, and I personally, मैंने झाड़ू लगाया.
Obviously.
Beach said, beach mein I used to sweep, and then when my team sees it that I, being the founder, I'm doing all these things, they also start doing it without any hesitation or without looking down on that particular job. So I would say the first 5 people is either go by strong recommendation, speak to people if they can recommend you. Don't only go by merit, go by their attitude.
Attitude over aptitude. In fact, aptitude is obviously a hygiene factor, but attitude is something that will be the differentiating factor. Uma, do you have any mantra, few lenses to look at before you look at co-founders or employees that you hire?
I think she said it beautifully. I think I'll just add one point to it, that it's also important to be aware of your own strengths. Because I quite often meet founders who are pretty much doing everything and they don't know what to let go. And when they hire the first, team of 5 people, 10 people, so they're still doing everything. So I think that clarity about, and that's where a lot of self-reflection and that learning comes in, that what is my superpower? What is it that I'm good at? And I won't let go of that, but I'll let go of everything else. So what am I hiring for? I think once you get clarity about that what is it that I want to micromanage, what I don't want to micromanage and let go, and how do I do that? I think
clarity about self and delegation is something that one needs to know. Uma, now that you speak about that, entrepreneurs and founders are not only in charge of developing people under them and developing the businesses that they founded, they're also at some level important and responsible for developing themselves as people. Because the person you are at the start of an organization versus the person that you wish to become at the level at which you want to take your organization higher. What are the tools that founders can deploy to develop themselves on a regular basis while they are managing the developments of their organization and their employees?
Mangalam, leadership is an internal journey and public act. So, and today, what's happened, most of the entrepreneurs are very young. You'll see from 20 to 35. That's still the older
cohort.
The older one.
you have
actually,
15. You have people starting at 11, 12, 15. Yeah.
And they're brilliant, cerebrally brilliant, and super. Amazing ideas. I'm amazed. I mean, I didn't know all this when I was 20. I
still don't know. I'm way past 30. So no, just kidding.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah. So it's very unfair to expect them to overnight to be smart. emotionally intelligent, socially intelligent. They should know how to delegate. They should. I mean, it's not fair. So obviously they need to do some self work. But they are on a treadmill. They are on the roll, and they are growing. And I see people growing very fast, from 10 to 50 to 100 to 500 people organization in 2 years. So I think this, learning agility has premium, and there is premium on youth. So learning agility and youth has to come hand in hand. So how you are developing your practices, what habits are not working, changing habits. So I think they have to do that on a daily basis. They have to work on it, work on themselves, take feedback. Feedback is a great tool. They can take a coach and work on what really what is driving them, what are their motivators, what is the sense of purpose they drive from. So they have to constantly be at it.
Well, I will come to how they can get mentorship or get a coach to develop them. But the point that you made, youth and learning agility, it reminds me of something like a super bike, which already has some power, that is youth. And then agility would be the NOS scan that would come by and take that bike a lot faster as well. But while one would look at mentors and coaching at a lot later and an external side of things, Hemali, I want to know the role that family plays in a situation like this. Because you did say that, you are always surrounded by an audience of your family well-wishers. Half of them are cheering you on and half of them are judging you. They've seen you through the ups and downs, and you are, practically extremely vulnerable in front of all of them. What is it that from your journey and the journey that you see around co-founders around you that they can learn from families, and what is it that families need to learn to help their co-founder family members or founder family members develop well?
Again, very emotional question, right? I just hope I don't break down.
If you do, it's good. It's good content if you break down.
No, I'll try not to. But a very brutal answer is it's not or never going to be easy for the family. Because it's not easy for us. How we are supposed to make it easy for them? And we are constantly battling time and our own demons. So in fact, they will be the first people, who will be taking the hits and blows for no reason, for no reason or no fault of theirs. And so I would just say to all the family members of the founder that if you want that founder to succeed, just forgive them for at least the first 5 years of their journey. वो नहीं कर पाएगा या नहीं कर पाएगी, it's very difficult. And, I know when I will succeed, I'm just at a scratch of it. The entire credit is going to go to my family, undoubtedly. Like, I live with my 70-year-old parents. I know they are supposed to be taken care of. I am supposed to go ahead and spend that quality time with them. But nahi ho pata hai. And the best part is my sisters are at my back and call. Any medical emergency, I just call them that, okay, fine, mom and dad needs to be attended. And they do it without making me feel guilty that, tu to ghar pe hai, tu karna. And they are married and they are not even there, in my house.
Yeah.
But they do it. They have zero financial expectation from me. In fact, they go ahead and support me financially right now, at least, which of course I'm going to give it back. And very ironically, what I told you today, right? Live example, 9th of December, my nephew's birthday. Okay. My sister had made the entire plan of the entire weekend, and I just told them, I'm sorry, I can't make it because I've already committed here. I can't cancel it any moment. Without making a fuss, she canceled the entire thing. And now we are going to go for a short drive and, followed by dinner. So, you see the kind of sacrifices they make. So if you ask me what I can say for the families, I don't have an answer. In fact, that you should take another podcast where you invite the families that what is their superpower? How are they tolerating our madness?
That's true. What you're saying is absolutely true. And To that, my follow-up would then be, how do you then rid yourself of the guilt?
आई डोंट, मैं सिर्फ बोलती हूँ कि हाँ एक टाइम आएगा कि मैं आपको गिव बैक कर दूंगी. देर you live with that guilt every single day.
And as a
You
founder,
can't.
you are resilient enough to live with that guilt.
Yeah.
What would you tell your other people in the ecosystem who are perhaps going through this, where their families are constantly supporting them and they are unable to give it back to them, and as a result of which they are also emotionally unstable, which is not good for their entrepreneurial journey? How do you support them? What is your word of advice for them?
So one of the thing is have some sort of a spiritual outlook to everything that you do.
Okay.
आप कर रहे हो, आप एक startup कर रहे हो, it's not easy. You are in a conflict and guilt that you're equally not able to contribute financially, not even with time. आप कैसे कर, then you need to have a spiritual outlook that it's okay, I am going to give my best. वो even in Bhagavad Gita they say आप कर्म करो, फल की चिंता मत करो. At some point of time you would be able to go ahead and give that time and attention and money back to your family. But yes, of course there is no concrete thing, but at least have that attitude and be true to yourself that you're genuinely doing something.
Okay, do
that's
something
it.
with utmost ingenuity and hope
Yeah.
that the result takes care of itself. That brings us to our final question. What role can coaches, mentors, and advisors play in an entrepreneur's journey, and how do we get to them?
They can play 3 roles, and a coach, whether it's a coach or advisor or mentor. One is they can be sounding boards, and they also show a mirror, that what where the person is going right, where the person is going wrong, and challenger, sometimes challenge the founder. I think these are the 3 things, because founders are essentially smart. So they know their job, So basically what you want to do is you want to just show them, nudge them a bit. And like you said, some of your mentors are connecting you with other founders. So that's what mentors do. That's the 4th thing, that you connect the mentors with other like, let's say, investors or other founders and all of that networking. But other than that, being a soundboard, being a challenger, and being a mirror these are the 3 things that they can do.
Okay, be a soundboard, be a challenger, and be a mirror. Well, that's too much furniture in one itself. Thanks a lot to Uma and Hemali for joining in, giving us your journeys, and helping all the entrepreneurs who might be at that crossroads right now with a lot of thoughts in their head to how to deal with their mental issues and the social issues around them as well. Journaling, having a nice attitude, having spirituality, and having a mentor are the 4 key pillars of something like that as well. On that note, we have to tell you that taking care of your mental health is not a detour. In fact, it is an integral part of the journey. Seek support, embrace self-care, and recognize that vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to your strength. Be sure to tune in again next week. Until then, it is me, Mangalam Maloo, signing off.
IVM